I'm Sarah Lacy.
And I'm Paul Carr. And this is Too Long Didn't Watch. And welcome back to America. You made it back.
Thank you.
You've been in Colombia.
I have been in Colombia.
Why?
I was on a trip actually organized by the State Department. They had a big New York Times profile over the weekend that was talking about how they're doing this modern kind of diplomacy where they take different experts from the tech world into emerging markets and try to see how technology can actually make these lives better. And it sounds hokey, but I have to say it actually renewed my faith in America a little bit.
My word. Tell me the highlight. What was the number one thing?
Well, there was a lot. I mean, there was a wild night out with midgets dancing on bars. There was, Dave McClure doing all sorts of weird things. But one of the coolest things from a business point of view was actually seeing a couple different schools that had the one laptop per child program, which is something that a lot of people in Silicon Valley have been really critical of. I mean, it's a great mission to give every kid a durable laptop that they can take home and evangelize the technology to their families and be more rugged and more suited for life where there's not a lot of electricity, where it's not quite as comfortable as life in the West. But a lot of people have criticized it, saying, look, it was supposed to be $100 a laptop. It's $188 per laptop. The laptops are only designed for this certain part of school. There's a lot of issues with the curriculum, not being built out, maintenance, other things. So it was cool to actually see some of it working.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that as your highlight because that fits in nicely with our guest this week.
Joining us now via Skype is Maureen Orth, who is a well-known American journalist, and she is also in love with Medellin, was there in the Peace Corps in the 60s, and started a school, couldn't go back for many years, and now is spending as much time as she can there. Maureen, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be on my first Skype interview.
So, Maureen, you set up this school. You wanted these kids to be digitally connected and decided to go the one laptop per child route. First of all, why did you feel like it was important for them to be connected? I mean, a lot of people say these kids don't have power, their parents don't have jobs. Why do they need laptops?
Oh, just because. Do you want any human being in the world to be educated and have a chance to go forward in life? What happened was I built this school when I was in the Peace Corps so many years ago, 2-little-room school, 35 kids. We now have 363 kids, and it goes all the way through high school. But what happened was that there was a professor of computer science who became the new superintendent of schools of Medellin in 2004, and I happened to be visiting there, and so at the end of the year, and he brought me into his office and said, look, he goes, these kids don't have any chance to compete in globally in the next century unless they can learn computer skills and speak English. Will you please help us make your school the first public, bilingual, and high-tech school? And I said, yes, absolutely, because why shouldn't God doesn't discriminate in terms of giving brains and talent out, so why should these kids be denied an education and a chance to compete?
And realistically, what have you? I mean, obviously, having a laptop is a great way to learn in the internet age. But what practical differences have you seen? Like, what are these children doing with these laptops that they could just never have done before?
Oh, I have to tell you, there are things that you wouldn't necessarily think of. One of the biggest things that they're learning is teamwork. They teach each other with the laptops, and they're taught responsibility. The idea that they are responsible for the most exciting, most wonderful toy that they could possibly have. If they lose their mouse or if they lose anything, the parents sign a contract, they're responsible for them. It's teaching them responsibility, it's teaching them discipline, it's teaching them teamwork, apart from all the other things. The laptop you can compose music on it, you can draw 3D with it, it takes pictures, it has a whole bunch of different languages and a couple of different alphabets, and so it has a lot of stuff that the conventional laptop doesn't.
And did you guys write your own curriculum? I know that's been another issue.
Yeah, that is an issue. I mean, there are some good software programs with one laptop, and we incorporate those, but we really find that especially teacher training is the most neglected. If you really want to reform education in Latin America or in the developing world, you have to retrain teachers. All the problems that the U.S. is going through with teachers, you can just multiply it, and that is what's happening, at least in my experience, in Latin America. So teacher training is a big part of this, and the kids sometimes have to teach the teachers. So they're also, I don't think a lot of people in the Valley really understand the level that we're on. A lot of people think, oh, why not just teach them with cell phones? Number one, these kids don't have cell phones. They're little kids. They need a screen. They need to learn to read. They need something a little bit bigger, at least in the beginning. But I would frankly love it if the carriers, the people who make these things, and it would just put the apps right on the phone for the kids when they purchase them, that they come built in. That would be much better than debating whether or not you should have a laptop or a cell phone.
So, I know you want to expand this program beyond just the schools where you operate now. There's people in the Valley watching this who are either CEOs of companies or maybe someone who just really cares about Colombia the way you do. What can people do to help?
Oh, well, listen, I'm so excited. Hewlett-Packard just announced that they're building a big global services center in Medellin. I think that that's a huge turning point for Medellin. What we need to do is give examples to the big industrialists in these countries. We need to teach philanthropy to these countries. That's why we do public-private partnerships. And so anybody can go to my website, MaureenOrth.com, click on my passion, click on my foundation, and get in touch with me. And I got a bunch of schools ready to go, and I got a bunch of people ready and willing to help. And I would welcome any help you guys could possibly give.
Well, thank you so much. And I can personally vouch that Medellin is also a fun place to hang out. So
it is. It's not at all what people think it is. It has a lower murder rate than Washington, D.C.
Which either says a lot about there or a lot about Washington, D.C. Maureen Orth, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it sounds like Silicon Valley's full of crap. One laptop per child works. People in the Valley who have their own iPads don't like it. People who actually are teaching children in Colombia like it. I think we know who's right here. No?
Well, I mean, I think there are limitations. I mean, to be honest, I had always thought, I didn't really know what to make of the program, being here and covering it. And we walked in the first school, and you look, and there's hundreds of kids sitting at tables, and each one of them has one of these bright green laptops in front of them. And
one of them per child.
And this was an area that was, far controlled up until a couple years ago that Americans couldn't have even gone into. And it's, been mostly pacified, and these kids are on computers. It's this kind of staggering visual of this digital divide being bridged. But then the kicker was their internet connection doesn't work at that school. So we've been showing some photos throughout the whole show of the two different schools that I visited, and we will leave you now with a dance number that the kids did at one of the schools. Yeah. Oh, and you can notice halfway through the video, they're actually holding up their laptops because they're recording it they have a camera in the front of the laptop. So the kids were actually recording their fellow kids dancing with their own laptops.
We need to give them a show on TechCrunch TV. better than some of the other stuff that we're doing. Here it is, your moment of zen.